What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. And this one I'm going to be continuing to show you how to make Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 in Minecraft. This is part 57, and in this one we're going to be doing this room here, along with getting this little pathway and the vent here done, and I guess getting this area started just so we, again, have some floor. Anyway, yeah, that is all. So with that being said, enjoy the tutorial, and I will catch you on the flip side. Side note, I did kind of forget this pipe. If you want to copy it now, you can. Hopefully I'll remember at the start of next part. I'll just intently stare at it for that. Alrighty, so to the next room we go. At least we're wiping this out pretty much one at a time. That's always something rather than like half per part. So if you're on the other side of this wall, you should have this particular setup with the hole like around the tough bricks here. I'm making sure that when you're looking at it, you have one row on the left and I guess the top technically, but that one doesn't matter. The one on the left is the important one because we're going to start by going that way when we're building the walls. So you want to start by getting out the following materials. Why can this never like be proper for me? It's either too high or too low. There we go. You want to get out the following: stone, cobbled deep slate, cobbled deep slate walls, tough bricks, and that's honestly all that we'll need for now. I think we'll get out tough slabs and maybe polished tough slabs for a bit of like floor dirt, but other than that, that's really all we need. So if you start from the hole in the wall here, you want to be just left of it on this row, and you're going to take the bottom row specifically, which should be the bottom line of the hole in general, and you're going to extend this tough brick left just an additional one. You'll then extend it towards you with 24 alternating cobbled deep slate blocks and walls. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, you get the point. You should end on a wall. You'll then, off of this final wall, place a tough brick and extend it right by 24 as well, I guess. Just like so. I'm going to make sure that that's correct. Yep. That final tough brick, you'll extend backwards, I guess, towards the rest of the build by 25. And then from there, it should connect perfectly back to the left with, if you want a number, 4, 5, 6, I think it would be 19. Yes. Cool. And that's the size of your room. It's almost a square, but it's not. A block under the floor, you're going to fill it entirely in with stone. Just making sure the only thing you really need to go under the cobbled deep slate walls here, since those obviously create gaps. I would go under the stairs and slabs of this part just because of lighting, but one's up to you. Hopefully everyone is having a good day or night. I am for the most part. I'm still like, I think it's allergies, but I'm still a little sick, as in just I have a fun little headache, so, you know. I've been dealing with that for 4 days now, something like that. I don't know, math is hard. But who knows? Anyway. The ceiling is not flat in this room. There's like a little point where the walls go up again. We'll get that situated once that's a problem, which isn't yet, but it's like somewhere on this side over here where I am right now. It's like kind of sort of, I guess it'd be front left if we're calling the hole you enter from the back left. It'd be like this kind of area here. Anywho, you can extend each wall up an additional 4 blocks with whatever the wall material may be. When you do this, make sure you don't bring, obviously, the parts of the, like, around the hole that are already up a little bit. Don't bring them up an additional 4, just bring them up to the height that everything else would have been from the additional 4, if that makes sense. Basically, you're bringing the hole itself up by 2, I think. Which should be that whole part, because if I recall, it should have been done evenly. But I already forgot, even though I was just looking at it like 3 seconds ago. And yeah, this shouldn't be too bad. At least this is an easy room layout. It's just a square. Or a rectangle, because it's not a square. Those are always nice and refreshing after some of the wacky ones we've had in this build. Especially when it's like a nice, you know, not even 30 by 30. Refreshing for a change. Now the next room is going to be like an 83 by 102 or something. There's no really big rooms left, other than the bay room at the very end. And I guess the hallway, like, before you send mommy on her way, I guess, if you will. That one's long, but even then it's not a huge area. Like, that'll maybe take a part or so. Anyway. So for the aforementioned hole in the ceiling, if you are in the front left-hand corner, what I classified as it, which would be this corner right here, you want to, first off, just place a stone on top of this frontmost cobble deep side wall. You'll, I guess off of this wall, place 3 rows of stone, and this does not include the stone you would need to place over the individual walls. It's just like 3 full rows within the room ceiling, if that makes sense. The texturing in that part is very odd, so if you're doing texturing as you go, just like wait. We'll probably actually get that one out of the way because it is strange. You also want to do 3 along the front tough brick wall, which would be this direction. Like so, and it should kind of give you this. That looks cool. So the hole, if you count along the cobble deep slate wall on the stone still, you're gonna want to leave 7 open. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th, you'll just place a single stone for now. You can, I guess, make that stone so it is in total 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It should be 13. So we're at 1 right now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And that 13th one you'll connect back into the other rows of stone we already have. So the hole should be a 12 by 7 according to my calculations. Which, if I've done them correct, that would be, well, correct. I guess that one's given. This little rectangle we have, you'll leave open, but everything else you'll fill in with stone in line with, you know, block above the tops of the walls. Again, that's where it goes up when we have, like, rust going on. Rust texturing's fun. Not really. Fun is a way you could describe it, but it wouldn't be the ideal way to describe it. It's an amalgamation of a bunch of different blocks that kind of sort of gradient from like a sad orange to light gray. But they don't even do that well. I mean, it looks good. You'll see what I mean. Like, it works. It's not the most convenient or clever thing I've ever done, but should have this. So in this hole, or I guess around the edges of the hole, you're going to bring these stone up 9 rows. Just like this. Yeah, this is really the confusing part of the layout here. Once this part's done, we're like good. And then again, we'll get the rust texturing out of the way because I do want to talk about that. Well, we don't have pipes in our way, because once we have pipes in our way, then everything is going to become just mildly more infuriating. And you can't, I'll talk about all the texturing, I think, right now. This might be the only room for the entire build I talk about it first, but hey, there's got to be exceptions sometimes. I'm just making sure they happen. Definitely no other reasons. Anyway, you should end up with this. A block above the top of this, you'll fill it in with stone. This is for, well, there's an actual ceiling here, somehow. I am honestly shocked by that discovery myself, but there is one. And it's also rusted. Shocker, am I right? Anyway, if you head to the hole here in the wall, I want to do one thing here before we actually focus on that texturing. There's a bunch of, like, tuff in the floor, so again, I won't really give you the specific, but it's almost like a little, just a corner here. That's not right. I'll do it exact. No, yeah, never mind. That is exact. And then all this. Okay, not you, preferably. And it's a mixture of tough and polished stuff. I guess I'll do that the same, but I don't really understand why, because it looks really bad. Okay. There, and that'll just place an upside down side, probably. There we go. I was gonna say, or won't place at all. So yeah, that's what the tough looks like. For the other texturing, first off, stone is the same. Obviously, for the extent that we have it. Tough bricks are, again, deep side bricks, and the cobbled deep side this time is deep side tiles. And nothing else. It looks a little bit harsh on my PlayStation account, but I think that's just that. So, for the texturing itself, the following pattern is, well, this. Polished granite, waxed exposed copper. Don't forget to make it waxed. I do that so many times. Packed mud, gravel, iron ore, and andesite. So, when you do the droopy this time, that sounds so weird. You can obviously make it 2 of a block if you go further than, what would that be, 7 down. So like if I break 8 here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Obviously I'll double up something. I'll probably double up the copper here. I would place it bottom to top as well, even if you break it top to bottom, just because of the gravel. The gravel will absolutely ruin your dreams. But yeah, try to, basically, you see how I have 5 here, so I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It does end up lining up in situations like that. Maybe that's when I say, okay, that should be a granite instead, and maybe I make 2 polished granite. Well, actually, I have 2 granite marked there, so it doesn't really matter necessarily. But just trying to have them not even. The granite, or the polished granite, the top's really the only thing that doesn't matter for. As for the ceiling, there are a couple ways you could do this. You could just go haywire with all these with the exception of gravel, because, well, it's gravel. Or you could do one of the funny things where you place a polished granite and then you surround it in regular granite, and then you surround that in waxed exposed copper, and then you surround that in packed mud, and then you surround that in iron ore. Basically, you're just almost radiating out from a center point, and eventually it'll maybe give you some sort of texturing thing. And then, like, maybe once you hit some iron or something, stop before you do andesite, and then place your next polished granite and do the same thing, and then maybe, you know, you'll end up connecting, like, there and stuff, and then whatever's in the middle will be andesite. Essentially, again, still just going in the order, but instead of going across, you're going kind of out in a circle. But not quite a perfect circle, because you don't want it to be a perfect circle. You kind of want to rough it up as you do, or as you can. But yeah. Absolutely lean into iron ore here being around the edges, along with the andesite being off of that. I think those two are probably the best two for this, because the iron ore obviously has the bits of the color we would want. Yeah, that's really all. I just wanted to get that one out of the way. So if you clear your inventory, let's just start it, shall we? Get out the following: polished andesite slabs, deep slate, just regular old deep slate, stone brick walls, red nether brick walls, prismarine walls, warp fence, pale oak fence, bamboo fence, and anything else? Or is that literally all the materials we need? I'm trying to is there a full block in here? No. So we'll go warp slabs since we do need those, I know. Okay, same thing. Hole is back left. So let's head to this hole. And if you are... Okay, I'm not looking at it. Hold on. If you're on the second tough brick to the right of this stair, it'll be this one right here. You'll be on the one at ground level, and you'll go to 2 polished andesite slabs to the right. Then go towards you 1, and then all the way right from there into the side wall. From this point, you can actually take the far end of that here, and you'll leave a gap of 2 extending across across the wall, and then place a row of stone brick walls going floor to ceiling. Then leave a gap of 1 and place a warped slab. Gap of 1, which will be a warp stair in a moment. And then you want 5 warped planks. Just make it out of slabs. And then you'll place a bunch of upside down warp slabs until you are 3 off of the right, or the, I guess, front wall here. You can then get rid of those warp slabs and get out warp stairs, and you'll place a warp stair on either end of this, like, center row here that'll just face away, which kind of looks like this. Just in front of this end warp stair, you'll place a polished andesite slab and extend it all the way left until it connects into the wall. If you take the final warped plank, as in the frontmost one, this one right here, you're going to extend it left with 8 polished andesite slabs. Then go forward, left, forward 4, and then you'll place an upside down polished andesite slab in front of that, which will be kind of up diagonally like so. You'll then leave a gap of 3 extending left, and almost copy that just going inverted. The only thing is you don't have an upside down slab, you just have a regular slab here. So if you just literally leave a gap of 3 from that slab, place the slab, go back by this time it would be 5, left, back, and then all the way left. It's all the polished andesite pipes. There isn't really a ton going on. Well, there's a couple ceiling pipes, I guess, but there's not a ton. If you head back to the first polished andesite pipe we made, or vent, I guess, whatever, on the floor, you want to take where it kind of sticks out a row right here, and you'll leave a gap of 2 extending out and place a row of deep slate blocks going floor to ceiling. If you continue to trace that forward, you'll hit this polished andesite slab here, where you'll leave a gap of 1 in front of it and then place another row. This one will go all the way through this, like, stone area here. And then bonus, if you continue to trace that forward, you'll place another one. What is it going to be? 5 blocks away, I think, or a 5 block gap. And it should end up at the opposite half of the same little stone cutout in the ceiling. Good news for us, maybe. These are evenly spaced. So from each of these, I'll just take the frontmost one for now. You want to leave a gap of 5 extending over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll place another. And then you would have another gap of 5, and you would have a third row. Was that 5? Yeah, okay, that was 5. And yeah, you would want, in total, math check, 9 of these. And they should all line up nice and happily. They're not fully spaced evenly. I did say they were. Technically, I'm lying, because like all these 2 rows are perfectly spaced, but the other row would be more than 5 rows off, so. But it is still follows the same rule where they're 5 blocks apart from each other within that row. Just, you know, this spacing is obviously more than 5, but ignore all of what I just said. It wasn't really important. I just figured I would point that out. We'll start with that side over there, because this side's an actual mess. So I'm gonna tell you what, instead of explaining this block for block, just around these pillars, you want to do a combination of everything you have as far as fences and walls are concerned. And so there's really 2 things you need to worry about here. You do not want 2 fences next to each other or 2 walls next to each other, because you don't want them connecting like that. You want to make sure essentially that, you know, each wall or fence is surrounded by the opposite. Honestly, that's really the only, like, insanely important thing. Just try to make sure you're using all of the colors and stuff. Like, you can maybe even start by just placing fences and then, you know, going from there and filling in the gaps with walls. But there's really just, like, no correct or wrong way to do this. Just place a bunch of stuff. And make sure the edges don't, like, just abruptly end. Like, you don't have a flat line here. Kind of have it almost fade out in a weird way. You'll kind of see what I mean in a second here. Hold on. Let me just, like, place all of them. Kind of just like something like that, where you have a lot of them, and, you know, maybe even like a gap here. I see I could put a bamboo fence, and maybe I'll put a stone brick wall there, just to kind of fill it out a little bit more. You want it to be a lot of pipes, but I didn't exactly make it perfectly accurate to begin with, as per usual with these kinds of things, so why would I do it again? But yeah, and then have fun bringing them all up, because that's not a particularly enjoyable part. And then yeah. Pipe hell. That's literally just play code, I think, at this point. Like, every single room is either random boxes go or random pipes go. And if it's neither of those, the room isn't real. It doesn't exist. Or it's in Chapter 3. Because I do feel like Chapter 3 is definitely not as aggressive with those things. I mean, there's still a lot of rooms with it, but... I'm trying to think Chapter 4. I, like, don't know Chapter 4 well enough since I haven't built it, even though I just played it on the MHH stream a few days ago. At the time of recording this. Obviously, that was, like, months ago at this point for you all seeing this. But, yeah. Just so you know how ahead I am, I guess. The Whack-a-Wuggy segment would have just had its last episode, or part, published recently. And Guarani is starting in 2 days. There you go, that's that side. Other side I'll do more accurate, since I do have it more accurate. At least as far as the pipes that should be of a concern. Of a concern, or just of concern? Whatever. One of the two. I'm not really inclined enough to know. But, so, we'll start with the pipes that actually, again, have purpose. If you take the... Wow, that was mean. If you take the front left-hand corner here, behind this polished andesite sabro against the wall, you're just going to place a row of prismarine walls. It should connect into the cobbled deep slate. Not ideal, but it does do that, so... At least in this. You want to, from that row, count back by 3 and right by 1 and place red nether brick walls going floor to ceiling. The top block you'll extend left by 1 and right by 2, and on that rightmost 1 you'll extend up by 5. Then forward 1, and then up the rest of the way. From this point, you want to, from the red nether brick, the bottom of this pipe, you're going to count forward 2 and right by 1 and place a row of stone brick walls there. You then forward diagonally right place pale oak fence. And then count back 2 and right 1 from that and place bamboo fence. Just should go all the way up, hopefully. Yep. And then from the bamboo fence, you want to count back by 3 and place warp fence going all the way up. From the warp fence, it's time for the weird pipe. You want to count right by 3 and towards you by 1 and going up. You're going to want to place 5 red nether brick walls. Okay, well, there's actually 2 weird ones. This one goes left 1, up 3, left 1, up by 5, left 1, up 1, and then connects left into the wall. From the bottom of that one, you want to just count back by 2 and left by 1, and as a quick intermission, you're going to place bamboo fence going all the way up just against the deep side pillar here. Then from that one, you'll count right 1 and back by 2, and going up here, you want to place 3 red nether brick walls. From this wall, 2 things happen. You go forward, up, 2, forward, up 3, then back, whoopsies, hold on, I'm struggling, the controller keeps hitting buttons, up 4, back, and then up by 2 to connect into both the ceiling and the wall, I guess. Also from that bottom row of 3, you'll go back by just 1, then up 2, back 1, and then you'll just go all the way right until you connect into said right wall. If you leave a gap of 1 in front of this red nether brick wall row here, you're going to place a row of prismarine walls. When you hit this pillar, the middle of the 3 rows, you're going to stop 1 further left than it. It'll go all the way right into the wall, but it'll stop right there. And then from it, you will go forward, up, forward, and then all the way up, like so. From the bottom of that deep side pillar you just kind of used, you're going to count left by 2 and place a row of bamboo fence going all the way up. And also from that pillar, you'll count forward by 2 and place pale oak fence going all the way up, like so. Couple more weird pillars going, or pipes, I mean, not pillars. From the pale oak fence here, you're going to go forward diagonally left by 1 and place stone brick walls going all the way up. From that, you're doing a couple of things, but we're going to take like a kind of sort of brief intermission for it. It's hard to explain. You're going to go forward diagonally right and place warp fence going all the way up. Then on the other side of this upside down polished andesite slab, you'll count at the second stone to the right and go up with 4 stone brick walls. Left, up 2, left, and then just the rest of the way up. Then from that, you'll front stone brick wall, you'll go forward diagonally left with a row of pale oak fence going all the way up again. Then from that pale oak fence, you'll count forward by 2, and from this block, right of it, you'll have a red nether brick wall row, and left of it, you'll have a warp fence row. You'll then count left by 3 from that warp fence. We'll just work back around to it, I guess, and go up with 3 prismarine walls. Left, then up by 2. You know that prismarine, you can see the pipe right there, that prismarine wall one that went around the like middle pillar and then went up. You pretty much want the same thing at the back, or at this front pillar here, I guess. It would be, instead of going like into the right wall though, you're gonna have it just left of this deep, so it'll be what, the 5th one up? 4th, 5th, yeah, and then it'll just connect forward into this tough brick wall. And when it's in line with the pillar, it'll go up, back, and then all the way up. And you kind of see how they're mirrored. Anyway, back to this prismarine pipe here. I keep wanting to say pillar rather than pipe. You'll count left by 2 and place a warp fence row here. Also from that prismarine pipe, you will count back by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll place a row of warp fence just going all the way up here. Couple more. There's just a couple more here. You'll then count left to the opposite side of this polished andesite slab and place pale oak fence doing the same. And one more, I do believe? Yes. Behind that, of course, it's a weird one, though. You're going to go up with 3 stone brick walls. You'll then go back, right, up, back, and then just all the way up from there. And that should be all of the important pipes here. If you want, there might be one there that's supposed to be existing. Nope, that's good, it seems like. Right? Yeah. Cool. So, that's not quite the room, though. But we are almost there, which is always nice. There's like 2, 3 major things. We have to do more pipes, but we're not worried about that just yet. Get rid of the deep slate, polished andesite slabs, and warp stairs, and get out the following. Bamboo slabs, but I'd recommend putting them at the back slot of your inventory because you want the same 2, or you want the 2 open slots to be next to each other. I guess you could have technically put it in the second, but whatever. You want deep slate tiles and deep slate tiles stairs. And so, where you have this hole here that we've been, you know, dealing with for the past 10 minutes, you want to the right of the, like, back of it, this particular stone, you want to actually break this whole row going right and replace it with deep slate tile blocks. We're going to just remove a chunk of the ceiling and replace it, basically. In front of that, you want to do the following rows. You're placing a row of upside down deep slate tiles, stairs facing back. Then a row facing forward. Blocks. Upside down stairs facing back. Upside down stairs facing forward, and then blocks again. And this whole chunk of the ceiling is again getting replaced with this pattern being brought all the way right. And yeah, I don't really know why there's just like a random tile of the ceiling that they said, what if we took it out and changed it? And yeah, when you do this, the tough bricks will have to get brought up a row. You can honestly just do that after. I would prefer if you didn't I prefer for myself if I didn't get trapped outside here. So I'll actually leave that one open, get rid of the deep slate tiles, and then bring these tough bricks up just right there. So when you're on the inside, you don't see it through the little gaps in the stairs. You could also do it entirely deep slate bricks if you are worrying about texturing. That might be smarter. Or, you know, going with how the deep slate bricks are. Anyway. 2 more pipe-related things, and then we can move on. I think that's all in this room, right? I'm telling you, it's just pipes. It's just pipe hell. Like, that's it. above the hole which is in the back left, which is the only one actually right now, you want to take really the center of it, which is going to be this particular space right here, and you're going to count up to the ceiling, and off of this tough brick you want to go out with 8 bamboo slabs. Go right, forward, and then all the way right until you connect into the right wall. We'll use this pipe in a minute, just kind of remember that it's there. This portion of the room, like the front right corner we'll call it, you notice there isn't many pipes. Try to keep the consistency and the spacing as we have, which is a little bit less over here, but just add a bunch of pipes, again. Try to make sure you don't have any more in the hole, like there. I think the limit should be like this row. Basically where we cut off is where you should also be cutting off. And yeah, you don't want too many, but you also want to make sure you have enough to make a case. If that makes sense. And yeah. You can curve these, do whatever you want with them. You could have some broken, maybe one leaking steam. Not that they do that in the game. Except for that one. The infamous steam leak from the first MHH stream. If you know, you know. That's like become the biggest joke for some reason. Okay, I would prefer if that didn't happen either. Yeah, try to avoid connecting into that pipe. So I'll like move that one to maybe there. Yep, sure, that works. Can't really argue with that. I feel like I need a pipe in here though. What am I feeling, like a warp fence right there? Oh, nope. Nope. Ah, God, I can't do that one. It's got to be a wall. Then I guess stone brick there. I don't really know. Just like, yeah, something like that. You want it to feel like if you were an engineer or a plumber walking into this room and they're like, yeah, just go fix the pipe. You'll be like, what? Genuinely, though. Poor plumbers for this place. Anyway, clear your inventory and don't get sidetracked. And get out the following so we can make the little funny tunnel into the next area. Tough brick stairs. Coarse dirt or whatever. Whatever slab you think works best here. I go with spruce slab. I know some people like granite. Again, mud brick's always a good option. But I think spruce just makes the most sense. In addition, spruce buttons, a flower pot, actually multiple flower pots, but what do I know anyway? Stone, quartz bricks, cyan terracotta, and polished andesite slab. So if you are looking at this particular wall, you want to make sure you are in line with the bamboo slab row. And you want to break the 2 tough bricks above the warp plank in that row, which are these 2. Replace the bottom one with a tough brick stair facing right and the top one with an opposite on stair facing right. Right of those stairs will break another row, but these won't get replaced with anything. And then right of specifically the bottom one, you'll break and replace with a stair facing left. From that bottom tough brick, you want to extend back, which is going to be, you know, outwards with 2 coarse dirt. Extend it right a row and also left a row. This front left coarse dirt, you'll place a slab on top of. When I say slab or dirt, you know, it'll be coarse dirt or disperse slab or whatever your alternatives would be. The left row, you'll extend this dirt back an additional 1. Then down diagonally back by 1. And then back by 2 for now. We'll just end there. And then it will go a little bit further, but I think that's a reasonable point to go to. This upper back coarse dirt, you'll extend right with 2 slabs. Leftmost slab, you'll extend back by 1, and then you're really just around the edges of these slabs place blocks of dirt, and then extend them up by 1, which is going to be those 3 diagonals right there. From, really, I guess from the center one, you'll go up diagonally in both ways by 1, like so. And then from this back coarse dirt, you'll go left 1. And place 2 upside down slabs in front of each of these blocks, actually. From these left 2 slabs, you go kind of up diagonally forward with dirt. And really from this point, you're just kind of filling in the points of the sides flat with dirt beyond what we have. At least to the point that we've gone to right now, which is going to be right there. Not with the... Well, I guess there, actually. Right? Yeah. That's correct. You want to bring the ceiling, or the... Yeah, I guess the top of it out on additional blocks. You basically have a, like, 1x2 walkway right here. And once you're one block of that fully, you're going to, on the next block, do the same thing, but have an upside down slab as the ceiling, a half a block lower, so you have to actually crouch. Then beyond that, you'll place a slab on the floor and still an upside down slab on the ceiling. But the walls do not stay flat. The right one does, so you'll just place coarse dirt off the sides of the slabs and connect it together. But on the left, you'll place from the upside down spruce slab at the top a block to the left, and from the slab at the bottom, you'll go down diagonally left with the coarse dirt. And then left of that, you'll place your wall a block out. I'll fill in this block with a coarse dirt, you know, a block, I guess, in front. And then I'll bring this bottom coarse dirt back and then right. And this will be a 2x2 area, so I'll place coarse dirt up diagonally out either side. Go up one and then up diagonally in by one. If it's not perfect, I wouldn't worry about it. Just make sure you somehow end up with the 2x2 at the end. That's really the only thing that particularly matters, and you can force that however you want. I know I went through that a little bit quickly, but yeah. So there's a couple flower pots and such. If we're walking backwards through this instead, the first flower pot is just to the right of this first slab we would encounter on the floor. I also have a spruce button towards you from that, but that's kind of not necessary. On the 3 coarse dirt, I have a couple of buttons as well on those back too. And then on this back left dirt here, I have a flower pot along with this front right one. And again, you may place a button like here if you want, is where I have it. Texture this as you please, as far as, or other than that, I guess. But yeah, find your way back out of this and just like slowly crawl through here, crouch through here. And at the end, you want to place off of each coarse dirt a quartz brick. And I'll also add the corners to just make it a 4x4 missing the center. It's like a 4x4 outline. Like so. In line with the... If you're looking at it the way that I am towards the tunnel we just came through, you're going to take the right 3 quartz brick on the bottom and extend them each towards you with 3 stone each. On the front right stone, you'll place 3 cyan terracotta extending up, and then also bring that forward a row. Really around the edges of the stone here, you're placing quartz bricks a block up. The one exception is the back center, which is this one. You're placing a polished andesite in the floor beyond it, and at eye level, you'll place an upside down polished andesite slab. And just leave the one at, you know, ground level open, which should kind of give you this, basically. You extend each quartz brick up by 2 and place one on top of the upside down andesite slab. And then a block above that, fill in the ceiling with stone. If you clear your inventory, so for texturing in this, I guess I'll talk about that real quick. You really only have to texture the stone. There's no point in texturing the quartz bricks. And even if you do texture the stone, I feel like that's kind of pointless. I did. Don't ask why, but I did. Get out the following to finish off this room. Andesite walls. Red carpet. Birch button. And polished blackstone button. So, when you're looking at this opening here, the vent opening to the right of it, you'll place a couple of andesite walls. Towards you from that, you'll place a red carpet. Either side of it, polished blackstone button, and then left of the left polished blackstone button, you'll place a birch button. Now, we can bring this vent down, so just get out polished andesite, and we might need polished andesite slabs, I think we do. This particular thing, it's important that you get this right, because if you have the cave as I do, you will notice later when we make the cave, I don't actually, it might not be this one, it might be the next one, but no, I think it is the next one. These vents numbers do end up mattering because of that. Essentially what you can end up doing if you have a problem is just push it down more, because that cave will end up getting in the way. I think the single row that I have will still end up in the way a little bit, but the number that I ended up doing here made it work, so it was just enough. But yeah, this polished andesite in the floor of the little vent opening, you want to extend it down by 3, and then place an opposite down slab below it. I'd recommend getting out some obscene placeholder block that does not apply to gravity. I'm going to go with slime block because it's funny. And place a slime block kind of toward you from that upside down polished andesite slab. Surround that in, well, more upside down polished andesite slabs, and each of those can be brought all the way up with polished andesite blocks until they're at the same height as that upside down slab up here. You'll then bring that upside down slab towards you a block, and you can also remove that placeholder. And this will give you a little, area to fall through. Now, we'll do this ceiling a little bit, so just get out cyan terracotta for a brief moment, and make sure you're looking the way that you would have walked down the vent. So basically, if I'm in this room, I'll head down and I'll keep looking this way, which should be, at least for me, statues it to my left. My FOV is a little bit high, so that might not be the case for you, but just, it isn't this situation. And so if you just look up from this point to the right of the quote-unquote spine of this, which is going to be this row of 3, you're going to place from this polished andesite 3 cyan terracotta. You'll extend that back, which is that way, kind of towards statues, by 2 rows, and then forward by 1, and just fill in the space until it hits polished andesite, or when it doesn't, you'll just go 1 further than this block, and then go forward, and just place 1 in this corner as well. So when you're filling out the cyan terracotta here on either side, you want to, I didn't tell you to go forward at all, but you do want to go forward a row. So it should be 5 in total. It's like a 5 by 4, 5. It's 5 by 6, just so you know. Yeah, this comes important next part. As you can see, I'm in the middle of the next part, and I just realized this, but thankfully I didn't upload this one yet. But yeah, just keep that in mind. And then again, this all ended up being 5 rather than 4 for next part. Basically, that's kind of the setup you should have. Do we want to keep going? Yeah, we can just get the, stuff built out. So you do need cyan terracotta still. I apologize. I was, I'm ready to pack up my bags. Get out polished black stone stairs along with that. And then you'll need light blue concrete and stone. So if you're looking at this still to the... both... the left and right of it, the short side, you're going to place upside down polished black stone stair rows that both face to the left. You'll need a placeholder block for this row just because it's kind of annoying. Off those stair rows, you'll place cyan terracotta in front of and behind them, which will be kind of on the sides of the stairs. Extend those cyan terracottas down by 6. And then going across this way, not where these stairs are, the other direction, you'll connect the, I guess, top 4 cyan terracottas together with light blue concrete. You can only do, or you only need top 3 if you don't include the very tippy top ones here. But I guess just make sure the bottom 3 are open. That's the only requirement that really helps. But I'll just fill this row because I might as well. You'll then go down diagonally out with a row of light blue concrete and down by 2 rows, which will make you in line with the bottom of that cyan. Then a block below the bottom of the walls, you'll kind of fill in this area with stone. And this will just, again, get us set up for next part so we don't have to start suspended in midair and we actually have a little bit of ground to work with. This hallway, so basically, this entire area in the game is dark for some reason. But this is a short area. It's like a hallway that goes that way and then goes left into a room. And then that room takes you through a conveyor down into the, one of the brick rooms, which is where the loop is for Mommy. So for that loop, we'll end up probably laying it all out first. Just because I want to make sure that, we don't, conventionally mess something up and then be like, well, you got to go all the way back, just so we can kind of get the layout at least of most of it done and see that, yeah, no, that'll line up that way and then go from there. But anyway, once you're done that, ladies and gentlemen, that is part, 57 of Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 complete? I don't know, we're somewhere up in that range. I keep forgetting. Thank you guys for what you guys did enjoy this video regardless of my forgetful memory. Have a fantastic rest of your day or night, and I will say on the next one. I should have anticipated that. I like just remembered to. Peace.